The villagers always spoke about the forest with fear in their voices. They said no human should enter it, not even for a moment. They said a monster lived there, a man so wild, so broken, that even animals avoided him. Children were warned never to go near the trees. Travelers were told to take long, difficult routes just to avoid the forest edge. For many years, no one questioned these stories. Fear made them believe anything. But the truth was deeper, older, and much more painful than the villagers knew. Inside that forest lived a man named Ayan. He had once been part of the village a long time ago, before lies and accusations pushed him away. He lived alone now, in a small wooden cabin hidden between tall, dark trees. He hunted for food, built tools with his hands, and kept his distance from people. Every night, he watched the village lights from far away, not with anger, but with sadness. The villagers called him a monster, but Arn had never harmed anyone. He only wanted to be left alone. On one stormy night, everything changed. A loud explosion shook the sky, turning the darkness bright for a moment. Owen stepped outside his cabin and looked up. A burning object was falling from the sky, crashing through the clouds like a star breaking apart. It sped across the forest, tearing branches and shaking the earth, before crashing only a short distance from his home. Owen felt the ground tremble under his feet. Smoke rose through the trees. The air smelled like fire and metal. He grabbed a torch and moved quickly toward the crash site. When he reached the clearing, he froze. There, in the middle of broken trees and steaming soil, lay a strange object, round silver and glowing faint blue. It looked like no ship he had ever seen. It pulsed like a living heart, cracked open on one side. A small cry came from inside. Soft, weak, afraid. Ayn stepped closer, pushing aside burning metal pieces. Inside the wreckage, he saw something he never expected to see in his life. A small alien girl, curled up and trembling. Her skin glowed faintly, her hair floated like soft silver threads, and her large eyes were filled with fear and pain. She looked hurt. She looked lost. She looked alone. Just like him, Arn reached out carefully. His big, rough hands hovered over her tiny body. For a moment, she stared at him, trembling harder. She had heard stories too, stories about humans. Stories about danger. But something felt different. She did not feel fear in her heart. She felt warmth, safety, a strange feeling she could not explain. An lifted her gently, holding her close to keep her warm against the cold night air. She looked up into his eyes. The rain fell softly around them, mixing with the glow from her skin. Her voice shook as she whispered, "If you're a monster, then why do I feel safe with you?" The words hit him like lightning. No one had spoken to him with trust in many years. No one had looked at him like that, not with fear, but with hope. Arn did not answer. He simply wrapped his cloak around her and carried her away from the burning crash site. His steps were slow and careful, as if he feared breaking something fragile. But the forest was not quiet. Branches snapped somewhere behind him. Shadows moved between the trees. Something or someone was watching them, unpaused. The alien girl hid her face against his chest. He tightened his grip on her and continued walking. He did not know who she was. He did not know where she came from. But he knew one thing with complete certainty. She was in danger. And now, so was he. Behind them, far away in the village, people saw the bright explosion in the sky. Fear spread instantly. The elders spoke in shaking voices. "It is the monster. He has done something terrible again." They did not know the truth. They never did. But the truth was coming, and it would change everything. Arn stepped into his cabin with the alien girl in his arms, unaware that this night would begin a story that would shake the village, the forest, and even the stars above. Arn pushed the cabin door open with his shoulder, still holding the small alien girl close to his chest. The warm air inside met the cold rain outside, creating a soft mist around them. He gently placed her on a thick blanket near the fire. The flames lit her face, showing her strange glowing skin and silver hair more clearly. She looked around with wide eyes, unsure if she should relax or hide. Everything in the cabin was unfamiliar: wooden shelves, handmade tools, dried herbs, and the soft crackling fire. Yet, even in this strange place, she felt safer than she did inside her burning escape pod. Kneeled beside her. His big hands moved slowly as he checked her injuries. A small cut on her arm, a bruise on her knee, and a strange metal shard stuck in her leg. Her eyes watered as he touched it, but she didn't pull away. He spoke softly for the first time, his voice deep but gentle. "Stay still. This will hurt only for a moment." She nodded, trusting him in a way she didn't understand. Unheeded. A small knife in the fire and removed the shard with quick precision. The girl gasped, gripping his arm tightly, but he worked with calm skill. When he finished, he wrapped her leg with clean cloth strips. After a long silence, she whispered, "My name is Leary." Owen looked at her for a moment, then replied simply, "Arn." She repeated his name softly, almost like a question. "Arn. Are you a monster?" He froze. His hands stopped moving. He didn't look at her. He didn't answer. The silence told her everything. But instead of fear, she felt something else, sadness for him. A monster would not rescue her. A monster would not care if she lived or died. But this man, this human, carried her through the storm like she was precious. Owen stood up and walked to the window. The rain still fell outside, but something else caught his attention: movement. Fast movement. Shapes running between the trees. Hunters. Someone was already searching for her. He stepped away from the window and quickly began checking his weapons: a handmade spear, a bow with sharpened arrows, traps carved from bones and wood. Leary watched him with worry in her eyes. She whispered, "They are coming. They were chasing me before the crash. They want to take me back." Ong looked at her directly for the first time since she had asked about the monster. His eyes were sharp and serious now. "Why?" Leary shook her head. I don't know. But they said I must not escape. They said I must stay quiet forever." The last words made Aaron tense. Stay quiet forever. He understood what that meant. He walked back to her and placed a cup of warm water in her hands. "You are not going anywhere," he said. "You are safe here." Leary stared at him, confused. "No one has ever said that to me." Before Aaron could respond, a deep metallic sound echoed from the forest. A scanner. A hunting machine sweeping the area. Un blew out the fire instantly. Darkness filled the cabin. He pulled Leary close and whispered, "Do not make a sound." A red beam of light passed across the window, slowly, like an eye searching for life. Aaron held his breath. Leary pressed her face against his chest, trembling. After a long moment, the light moved away. The forest went quiet again, but Aaron knew this was only the beginning. Whoever wanted Leary was not going to stop when he lit the fire again. Leary looked up at him with scared eyes. "Why did you help me?" she asked. "Everyone else runs from me. Everyone else is afraid." Aaron's answer was simple but heavy with truth. "I know what it feels like to be feared for no reason." Leary understood then. This human was not a monster at all. He was someone who had suffered like her. Someone who had been alone too long, and now, without even planning it, he had taken on a responsibility he never expected. He had become her protector. Outside, the storm continued to fall, hiding the footsteps of the hunters who were getting closer with every minute. Inside the cabin, a silent promise had already been made. Aaron would not let anyone take Leary away. Not the hunters, not the villagers, not anyone. The forest had feared him for years. But tonight, for the first time, Aaron was ready to show what the monster could truly do. Morning came slowly, pushing away the storm clouds. Soft sunlight slipped through the cracks of Aaron's cabin walls. Leary slept curled under a blanket, breathing softly. her glowing skin dim like a resting fire. Arn watched her for a moment. She looked peaceful, but he knew danger still surrounded them. He stepped outside quietly, scanning the forest. The ground held fresh footprints, not human ones. The hunters had searched near his home during the night. They were close. Too close. He walked a little farther and found something more worrying. A broken scanner device lying near a tree. It sparked with dying energy. Whoever dropped it must have been frightened or attacked, or both. Arn picked it up. If the hunters were desperate enough to drop equipment, they were willing to destroy anything in their way. He returned to the cabin, and Leary was awake, looking at him with sleepy eyes. "You left," she whispered, sounding worried. "I didn't go far," he replied softly. "I was checking the forest." She hugged the blanket around herself. "Are they coming back?" "Yes," Aaron said honestly. He never lied. "But I will protect you." Leary smiled weakly. "I believe you." Her trust still surprised him. Humans never trusted him. Villagers never believed in his kindness. But this small alien child believed in him without question. She didn't see a monster. She saw a protector, a safe place. Something he never imagined he could be again. Meanwhile, in the village elder, Mara, gathered the people near the old well. They spoke in low, frightened voices. The bright explosion in the sky had panicked everyone. Some believed demons had fallen from the heavens. Others believed the monster of the forest had angered the gods. Mara raised her hands. "Silence. We must talk calmly." But the villagers did not calm. They pointed toward the forest. "It was him," one man said. "He caused it," another whispered. "He has brought danger upon us again," an old woman cried. Mara frowned. She knew the stories she once spread were lies. Lies told to hide something far worse. Lies told to make Arn disappear forever. Arn had been blamed for something he never did. And the village accepted the lie because it was easier than facing the truth. Now the past was returning. And Mara feared that everything they had hidden would be exposed. Back in the forest, Leary sat near the fire, holding a wooden cup Eon had carved. She looked at the walls, the tools, the herbs, the small shelves. "You made all this by yourself?" She asked. "Yes." "You live alone?" "Yes." "Because the villagers, they don't like you?" Owen didn't answer. His silence was enough for her. I grew quiet for a moment, then said softly, "On my planet, they said humans were cruel. They said you attack anything different." Arn looked at her. "Do you believe that?" She shook her head quickly. "No, you helped me. You saved me. You carried me like I mattered." Arn looked away. He didn't know how to respond to kindness anymore. It felt strange, almost painful. Before he could say anything, a loud horn echoed from deep in the forest. Arn stiffened. That was not a hunter's signal. That was a villager's horn. They were coming toward the forest. "Are they your friends?" Leary asked. "No," Arn said darkly. "Stay behind me." He stepped outside, watching the trees. Soon, he saw them, a group of men with torches and wooden spears. Their eyes were wide with fear, but also filled with anger. They weren't here to talk. They were here to blame him. Again, when they spotted Aaron, they stopped. One shouted, "We saw the explosion. What did you bring upon us now, monster?" Aaron didn't move. He didn't respond. He had learned long ago that words meant nothing to them. But then something happened that froze the villagers in place. Leary peeked out from behind Aaron's back. Her silver hair glowed in the morning sun. Her eyes sparkled like stars. The villagers gasped. They stepped back, trembling. "What is that?" someone yelled. "A demon child." Another cried. Leary hid behind immediately. Aaron's voice came out low and steady. "She is hurt. She is scared. Leave us alone." But the villagers didn't listen. They never did. Instead, they shouted for Mara. "Bring the elder! Bring her now." Owen realized the danger was no longer coming only from the sky. It was coming from the village too. And now both were closing in. Fast. Inside the cabin, Leary watched the villagers with fear. "They hate you," she whispered. "Yes," Aaron said quietly. "Why?" "Because lies are easier than truth." Leary took his hand gently. "Then I will stay with you. Until they see the truth." Aaron did not know why, but her words warmed something deep inside him, something he thought was gone forever, but the peace did not last long. Because something else moved in the shadows behind the villagers, something not human, and the hunters were finally here. The villagers stood frozen at the edge of the forest, torches shaking in their hands. Their angry shouts slowly turned into fear-filled whispers as they stared at the glowing alien child hiding behind Ian. For a moment, no one moved. Even the forest wind seemed to stop. But then, a sound echoed through the trees. A low metallic growl. A sound no human or villager had ever heard before. Aaron felt the hair on his arms rise. The hunters were close. Closer than he expected. He stepped slightly in front of Leary, shielding her with his body. She held tightly to the back of his shirt, trembling. One of the villagers pointed at the shadows. "Did you hear that? Something else is out there. It's him," another shouted. "He brought demons to destroy us." Owen ignored their panic. He was focused on the trees. The forest felt wrong, too quiet, too tense, like it was holding its breath. Then it happened. A tall, dark shape dropped from the tree branches behind the villagers. It landed silently, crouching low. Its eyes glowed red like burning coal. The villagers screamed and ran forward, pushing each other in fear. But before they could get far, 3 more shapes appeared, tall, armored, moving like shadows. The hunters had arrived. Aaron recognized them immediately. Alien trackers. Hard to see. Harder to fight. Deadliest when hunting children. One of the hunters raised a scanning device and pointed it toward Aaron's cabin. A line of red light swept across the ground, across the villagers, and stopped directly on Leary. The scanner beeped loudly. They had found her. Leary gasped and hid deeper behind Un. "They found me. They always find me." Aaron's jaw clenched. He stepped back into the cabin, closing the door just enough to block the hunter's view, but still watched them. Outside, chaos erupted. Villagers screamed, running in circles, dropping torches in the grass. The hunters didn't attack them, not yet. They scanned, gathering information, ignoring humans as if they were insects in the way. Aaron knelt in front of Leary. "Listen to me," he said calmly. "They will not take you. You can't fight them," she whispered. "They are strong. They are trained." Aaron gently placed a finger over her lips. "They are hunters," he said quietly, "and I lived in this forest longer than any of them." A loud thump hit the cabin door. The wooden frame shook. Another thump, stronger. The hunters had switched from scanning to breaking in. Aaron grabbed his handmade spear and moved silently to the center of the room. His eyes sharpened. His breathing slowed. His muscles tightened with a calm, deadly strength. Leary watched him in awe. This was not a monster. This was a guardian. The door burst open with a crash. A hunter stepped inside, crouched, armored, claws extended. It scanned again, its mask glowing bright red. Before it could raise a weapon, Aaron moved. He didn't hesitate. He didn't fear. He struck. The spear hit the hunter's shoulder, forcing it back. The hunter screeched, sparks flying from its armor. It stumbled, surprised. Hunters weren't used to humans fighting back, especially not with such speed and accuracy. Un grabbed the fallen hunter's arm, twisted, and slammed it into the wall. The cabin shook from the impact. The hunter's mask cracked outside. The other hunters heard the noise and turned toward the cabin. Their targeting lights locked onto the broken door. Leary crawled under the table, covering her ears as lasers hit the wall outside. Sparks flew. Wood burned. The cabin trembled under the attacks. Arun dropped low, grabbing the hunter's scanning device from its belt. With quick thinking, he smashed it under his boot. The glowing lights died instantly. The hunter screamed a mechanical, angry sound. Pushed the broken alien out of the cabin, sending it crashing into the dirt. The villagers watched in shock. The monster had just defeated a creature they couldn't even look at without shaking. One villager whispered, He protected us. Another said softly, He's not the monster, they are. But there was no time for talk. The other hunters aimed their weapons at Ian. He raised his spear again, standing between them and the small cabin, between them and Leary. Leary crawled out, eyes filled with tears. Please don't leave me. I won't, he said without turning around. His voice was steady, sure, unshakable. For the first time in many years, Arn was not hiding from the world. He was facing it. The hunters spread out, forming a circle around him. The real battle was about to begin. The hunters circled Ian with slow, deliberate steps. Their glowing masks watched his every move. Their weapons hummed with cold blue energy, ready to fire. The villagers stayed far behind, too afraid to breathe loudly. Eren held his spear steady. He had fought animals, storms, and hunger, but never anything like this. Still, he did not step back. He knew one thing with complete certainty. If he ran, Leary would die. Inside the cabin, Leary crawled closer to the doorway. Her small hands shook as she held the wooden frame. Her glowing eyes reflected the hunter's lights. Arn, she whispered, voice trembling. They won't stop. They never stop. Arn didn't look back, but he answered calmly, I told you. I will not let them take you. Leary pressed a hand to her chest. Something inside her pulsed, like a memory she had tried to forget. She swallowed hard. Arn, there's something I must tell you. Not now, he said. Stay hidden. But Leary shook her head. No, you must know. You must understand why they are chasing me. Arn risked a glance at her. Her silver hair floated slightly, as if stirred by invisible energy. Her skin glowed brighter. The hunters paused. They recognized the signs. One hunter raised his arm to fire. Arn charged. He moved faster than the hunters expected. His spear struck the ground hard, sending dirt flying. He rolled aside as a blast hit the earth where he stood moments before. Smoke rose, sparks flew. The villagers gasped. Eren grabbed a fallen log and swung it like a club, hitting a hunter in the mask. The mask cracked. The hunter stumbled back, but the others moved in quickly. Leary screamed, Stop! Please! Her voice echoed strangely like two voices speaking at once. The hunters froze. Even Eren felt the air change. Her glow suddenly deepened. A faint symbol, hidden beneath her skin, pulsed on her forehead like a shining star. Eren stared. What are you? Leary stepped out from the cabin slowly, not hiding, not afraid. Just tired of running. I didn't want you to know. She said softly, because I didn't want you to fear me like everyone else. Arn lowered his spear slightly. I do not fear you. Leary's eyes filled with tears. That is why I must tell you the truth. She touched the glowing symbol on her forehead. It flared brighter. I am not just a child. I am the daughter of the highest dream queen. My people rule 13 star systems. I was being taken to a place far away for protection. But someone betrayed us. Someone wanted me gone. Eren's brows tightened. You mean, someone wanted to kill you? Leary nodded slowly. Yes. And the hunters served those traitors. The villagers watching from behind gasped in terror. A royal alien child? What has the monster been hiding? Will her people attack us? Arn ignored their noise. His eyes remained on Leary. Why didn't you tell me earlier? He asked. Because you were kind to me, she said, sobbing lightly. You carried me when I was hurting. You wrapped me in your cloak. You spoke gently. No one has ever done that for me, not even in the palace. She took a shaky breath. I didn't want you to think I was just a burden from the stars. An stepped closer, kneeling so he was at her level. You are not a burden. You are a child who needs help. That is enough. Her tears sparkled like tiny lights. The hunters finally broke out of their frozen state. One activated a loud alarm. Another aimed a weapon directly at Leary. No! Aaron shouted. He grabbed her arm and pulled her behind him. A blast fired. Owen pushed Leary down and shielded her with his body. The energy bolt hit Aaron's shoulder, burning through his shirt. He grunted but didn't fall. Leary cried out, "Aaron, you're hurt." Owen stood firm. I will not let them take you. Princess or not, you are under my protection. The hunters stepped forward, weapons glowing brighter. But something changed in Leary's eyes. Her small body glowed with fierce, pulsing energy. The air around her trembled. Her hair lifted like silver fire. The hunters stepped back for the first time. They realized the princess was awakening. All I held onto Aaron's hand tightly. You protected me, she whispered. Now, I will protect you. And with that, the entire forest lit up with a brilliant blue light that stunned hunters, villagers, and even Aaron himself. Something powerful had awakened. Something the hunters never wanted to see. The bright blue light from Leary's awakening spread through the trees like a shockwave. The ground trembled. Leaves rose into the air. Even the broken cabin door shook on its hinges. The hunters staggered back. Their masks flickered. Their scanners beeped in panic. They had expected to catch a frightened child, not a princess awakening ancient energy. Aaron held Leary's hand tightly as the glow around her slowly faded. She was breathing heavily, exhausted from the sudden burst of power. Leary, are you all right? Aaron asked softly. She nodded weakly. I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to protect you. Aaron touched her shoulder gently. You did nothing wrong. But outside, the hunters had recovered quickly. Their leader stepped forward, armor shining with red stripes of command. He raised his weapon and spoke in a cold metallic voice. Return the princess. The human will not be harmed. Owen stood up slowly, placing himself between Leary and the hunters. She stays with me. The leader tilted his head. You cannot win. You are only human. Aaron tightened his grip on the spear he had carved years ago. Then today, he said calmly, you will learn what that means. The hunters attacked. Two charged from the left. One fired an energy bolt from behind. Aaron moved with surprising speed. Years of living in the wild had shaped him into something stronger than the villagers ever believed. He dodged the bolt and swung his spear upward, striking the first hunter across the mask. The metal cracked. Sparks flew. The hunter fell backward, stunned. Another hunter slashed at Aaron with a glowing blade. Aaron ducked, grabbed a broken log, and slammed it against the hunter's legs. The alien collapsed with a metallic scream. The leader fired two more shots. One grazed Aaron's arm, burning his skin. He gritted his teeth but stayed standing. Leary crawled back toward the cabin, watching in fear as Aaron fought alone. She pressed her hands together, trying to call her power again, but she couldn't. She was too tired. The earlier burst had drained her completely. "On!" she cried, voice breaking. "Please be careful." On did not answer. He couldn't risk turning his head. But her voice strengthened him. It reminded him why he was fighting. He wasn't fighting because he wanted to. He wasn't fighting because he hated the hunters. He was fighting because this small child, this glowing, brave alien girl, trusted him more than anyone else in the universe. One hunter grabbed Owen from behind, claws digging into his shoulder. On elbowed him hard in the chest, spun around, and drove his spear straight into the alien's armor joint. The hunter collapsed, but the leader was smarter. He moved silently to the side, aiming at Leary. Aaron saw it too late. The leader fired. "No!" Oz shouted, running toward her. At the last second, Leary raised her small hands. A thin blue shield flickered to life, weak, trembling, but strong enough to bend the energy blast away. The beam hit a tree, cutting it in half. The leader growled, "Your power is unstable, princess. If you come with us, we will teach you to control it." Lyri shook her head violently. "No, I won't go with you. I want to stay with Arn." The leader raised his weapon again. "Then you will die with him." Arn reached her side, bleeding from several wounds, but still standing like a stone wall. He pushed Lyri gently behind him. "Get away from her," he said, his voice low and filled with fire. The leader lunged. Arn met him head on. They crashed to the ground, rolling through dirt and broken branches. The leader struck Arn repeatedly with metal fists, each hit heavy enough to break bones. But Arn blocked, countered, and refused to fall. Years of isolation had hardened him. Years of pain had carved strength into his body. Years of being hated had prepared him for this moment. With a final surge of force, Arn grabbed the leader's arm and twisted it until the metal cracked. The hunter roared in pain. Arn slammed him against a fallen tree, breaking part of the armor. The leader tried to rise, but Arn was already above him, spear pointed at the alien's chest. "This ends now," Arn said. But before he could strike, the sky lit up. A massive beam of light shone down through the clouds. The ground vibrated. The hunters froze. Their masks showed the same message. A Streen royal ship approaching. Lyri gasped. "They found me. My people found me." Arn lowered his spear slowly. The hunters backed away, terrified. The confrontation was not over, but everything was about to change. The sky above the forest split open with a thunder-like sound. A giant silver ship descended through the clouds, glowing with royal blue lights. Its engines hummed like a deep heartbeat, shaking the trees and scattering leaves into the air. The hunters froze completely. Their armor stiffened, reacting to the ship's royal signal. They stepped back, lowering their weapons. Even their leader, though damaged and furious, stopped moving. Lyri stood beside Arn, holding his arm tightly. Her glow brightened. "They're from my people," she whispered. "The true guards. Not the ones who chased me." Arn nodded slowly. He didn't know what would happen next. He only knew one thing. He would not let her face it alone. A wide beam of light touched the ground. 3 figures stepped out, tall, elegant, wearing shining white armor with blue symbols matching Lyri's forehead mark. Their faces were calm, but their movements showed urgency. The tallest stepped forward, placing a fist over his heart. "Princess Lyri," he said in a warm voice, "we have searched every star to find you." Lyri's eyes filled with tears. "You came. You really came." The royal guard knelt before her. "Forgive us, princess. We failed to protect you, but we will not fail again." The hunter's leader tried to escape, but the royal guards lifted their hands. A wave of blue force sent the hunters crashing to the ground, disabling their armor. They could not move. They could not speak. They were finished. The forest became quiet again. Arn finally allowed himself to breathe. Lyri turned toward him. Her small hand slipped into his, warm and trembling. "Arn, I'm safe because of you." Before anyone else could speak, another figure appeared in the beam of light. A woman, not just any woman, a queen. Her gown flowed like liquid stars. Her eyes shone with the same silver glow as Lyri's. Her presence filled the forest like a gentle wind. When the queen reached the ground, she looked at Lyri with a mixture of love and pain. "My child," she whispered. Lyri ran to her, tears falling. "Mother." The two embraced tightly. The queen held her daughter as if she would never let go again. But after a moment, Lyri stepped back and pointed to Ain. "Mother, this is Arn. He saved me. He protected me. He fought for me, even when he was hurt." The queen looked at Arn for a long moment. Her eyes softened with gratitude. "You risked your life for a child who was not your own," she said. Why? Un didn't know how to answer. He simply said the truth. No child deserves to face danger alone. The queen smiled gently. Your heart is stronger than your world understands. From behind the trees, the villagers watched silently. They had expected to see monsters from the sky. Instead, they saw royalty calm, graceful, powerful. They saw their so-called monster of the forest standing among them like an equal. One villager whispered, "We were wrong about him." Another lowered his head. "He protected us, even when we feared him." But Aaron didn't look at them. His eyes were on Leary. Leary walked back to him, holding his hand again. "Aaron, I don't want to leave you." Aaron's heart tightened. He had lived alone for so long. He didn't know how to answer her. "You must go home," he said softly. "Your mother needs you. Your people need you." "But I need you too," she said, voice breaking. "You made me feel safe. You made me feel loved." The queen stepped closer. "My daughter speaks truth. You gave her what even a palace could not give comfort." She raised her hand. A holographic screen appeared, showing stars, planets, and worlds Aaron never imagined. "Anne," the queen said, "would you come with us? We can give you a new life, a home among the stars. You will be honored, not feared." Owen looked around at the forest he had lived in for years. He looked at the villagers who once called him a monster. He looked at the cabin that had been his only shelter. Then he looked at Leary Small, glowing, hopeful, for the first time in many years. He felt wanted. Arn nodded slowly. "I will go with you." Leary threw her arms around him, smiling through tears. "Thank you. Thank you, Alan." The queen placed a hand over her heart. "You will be protected and respected for the hero you are." Together, they walked into the beam of light. The villagers watched in silence as on the man they had feared. The monster of the forest rose into the sky like a hero returning home. And as the ship disappeared into the stars, the villagers whispered the truth they had ignored for years. He was never the monster. He was the protector.